Knight Lenna has high heels and glasses. That's somebody's fetish.
It's just two random articles of clothing.
You don't understand.
No, I understand.
From the Philia shit, you don't get it.
I perfectly understand.
Yeah, this is the Wyvern. How do you, like, how much stress would those translators have to have been in to translate Wyvern as the letter Y space burn?
It just happens when there's literally no context to what you're translating.
But that's like, how could you, but in what okay, I know there's no context, but how could you get Wyvern?
It's probably in katakana it said like Hawaii bomb. What if you get to a crystal and it doesn't shatter? Then we're fucked. One guy is gonna get like fucking Sun Tzu powers because the crystal just all of them in one.
This might be the greatest example of like gameplay to story dissonance, because the characters do not want this crystal to shatter, but you do. You want there to be like 10 crystals.
The best part of the game is the thing shattering.
You fight 4 crystals at once in the second world, you don't get shit from it. Fun fact, dual cast or X magic actually by default just gives you red magic. Like, even if you're not a red mage, if you like give dual cast to a knight, they'll just have the first 3 levels of all magic.
Damn.
Which is pretty cool.
I just watched the first bit of like a playthrough of this Summon Knight Swordcraft story or whatever, I think it's called that. And it's like a GBA game where like the story, it's like a fighting tournament. It's one of like 1 billion JRPGs that commit the cardinal sin of opening the game with waking up in the morning and being like, oh, today's the big day. But the game is, it's a game where basically kids fight each other in an arena, but they have to build their own swords.
Sounds kind of interesting.
But it's like, that kind of thing is like, oh yeah, everyone build your own fucking actual swords to kill each other with for this silly tournament.
Well, it's like, you know, it's like boxcar racing. The way you're talking about this game makes it seem like you didn't like what you saw.
Sometimes GBA games just have an air of shittiness that you can't dodge. There's a magic card called Dictate of the Twin Gods. All it does, it's actually like a very, very unique card that I've never seen anything like it since. I mean, there probably has been anything like it since, but all it does is it's an enchantment, which means that it's like just a thing on the field that has a passive effect. And it just doubles all damage dealt by anything to anything. And also it has the ability to be cast at instant speed, which means that it can be casted on other people's turns just like instantaneously. So remember, I was in like a free-for-all game with 3 people. Or 2
free-for-all.
2 other people. One guy like attacked the other guy just to stand combat, and then I just flashed in the everyone deals double damage and he died from it. It was in like middle school. I actually remember what happened was I asked the people like, hey, what does flash mean? And they were like,
and I gasped
one of them
in
was
horror.
like, oh, he probably has Dictate of the Twin Gods. And then I used it and he was like, why'd you do that? Because I was playing a red deck and like apparently it's like the only red card from that set that had flash. Eagle. They're also fucking amorphous beings. I can't even tell what they are.
I don't really know what I mean, they remind me of like a fish or something.
Like, is the bottom thing there implying that they're coming out of the ground, or did they just have that one dude from Peanuts who was always dirty?
If this game was released today, like as a new game and not a remake or whatever, the fact that there's a character in this game called Mid would definitely generate some Twitter buzz. I don't like Sid.
The Science Kid. Sid the Science Kid with a C-I. Sid and Kid are spelled the same.
Yes, Sid the Science Sid. Yo, in Kingdom Hearts 3, when we were talking about various Sids, like, you're saying Sid from Toy Story, Sid of the Highwind, and Sid from...
Sid Meier.
Sid Meier and Sid from Ice Age. I can't believe none of us said Sid the Science Kid. You press A on the fire, something funny happens.
I don't get it. In Shining Force 3, that game's English dub is weird. It's a Sega Saturn game, but when you use it's kind of like Sega's Fire Emblem, sorta. It's like a strategy RPG that they make. But when the one mage guy uses the ice, he says, "Now behold my Arctic blast."
Is that game just full of weird things like that, or is that just a standout example?
Yeah, I think it's just generally meh, but then that's like really weird. You know the Chaos Wars thing, where that game just has the worst dub ever? It's the one where it's really bad. I don't know,
I'm sure I would recognize it if I heard it.
It's a game where like all the cutscenes are in the visual novel format, and it's extremely anime, and that voice acting is just insultingly terrible.
Now bear my Arctic blast.
This guy's channel is Now Bear My Arctic Blast, and this video is called Now Bear My Arctic Blast. He has 53 subscribers.
So
okay,
now
Chaos Force?
Chaos Wars.
Got a 64% on GameFAQs.
I think I've got my head around this different dimensions business, but how do I get back to Tokyo?
What the fuck?
Tokyo.
The world I came from. How do I get back to where I came from?
He sounds like he's simultaneously overacting and underacting.
Well, the thing is...
Oh god.
Okay,
So
I think
supposedly at the time, Sony had a policy that like they weren't gonna release games that had no English voices. So then games would just make like scrounge up English dubs, knowing that people would just turn on Japanese voices anyway, and that's why that exists.
Well, alright, that's terrible.
Now bear my optic blast.
You know the Black Chocobo theme where it's like dun dun dun, dun, dun and it goes whoo.
Mm-hmm.
In the Pixel remaster, it goes dun 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 dun. Ew.
It doesn't.
It does.
Ew. Oh hey, is this where you get the world map?
You'd think so.
I mean, like in your playthrough where you never got it, is this where?
No, it would just show up in a random corner. Just completely randomly. There's no logic to where it shows up afterwards. Okay, wait, listen to this.
Shit, it does. Ew!
I was like, what the fuck?
It's one of the more disturbing enemy sprites.
Mm-hmm.
Guy who sticks out his tongue so hard that his face comes off.
It's pretty gross.
And why? Like, is it he sees you and he's like, what? And then his face comes off? Or is that just like how he lives?
Still less damage than Butts, depressingly.
Oh, well, Butts is the protagonist. Is he worthy to be the protagonist, though?
I mean, in general?
Is that a complaint with RPGs when the main character has way less going on than, like, the supporting characters?
That's the main complaint about the cast of Final Fantasy XII. He's portrayed as the main character, but he clearly has the least amount going on besides Penelo.
What's the blonde dude from Magic School Bus that's a wimp?
Arnold?
Yeah, it's like Arnold and his sister. Because in the first episode, Arnold is kind of... Arnold? Arnold is kind of portrayed as the main character. In the very first episode, yeah. It's the one where they go to Pluto and he takes off his helmet and dies.
I thought that was one of the later ones because his sister is in it.
No, it's actually
Phillips.
the very first episode of the show.
Hmm.
I do remember watching that episode in school and being like, what the fuck are they doing with this show? And I was like, and then, because I was like, oh man, they're really reaching. And it's like, oh no, that was the very first episode. Or it looks like she's tightening her gloves like Ryu.
Hand, which I assume is the one that's immune to ice.
Forget about this game's really esoteric, silently morphing enemies. The book pages are definitely the weirdest.
Yes. I still don't know how those guys work.
Shit, he's not even icing and he's doing more damage.
Alright, well, that's good at least. This boss has taken so long that he's run out of MP. There are challenge runs of this game where it's like you play as one character with as one class, and that's how you beat most magic-using bosses. You just use the bard's like runaway ability until they use all their MP. So it takes every fight takes like 30 minutes.
Is the side view of the wolf just his mouth hanging open?
Yeah, I think it is. It looks very funny.
How come every RPG from 1985 to 2005 needs a segment where you're in a battle with a timer? It feels like so many RPGs like have this thing where the timer is constant through everything, and they're like so proud of it that they have to use it. I do like the Paper Mario 2 thing where it's going during dialogue and you're just thinking like, should I just skip it? Should I read this? I don't know. I don't know.
380p.
Those shaders are still hard to make. Where like, because the dog was like dissolving in a diagonal path. It is kind of interesting when you look at 7 and a lot of the effects. They tried to like keep the effect but try and transfer it to crappy 3D. Like when they die, it's kind of like that. They just fade out. That is kind of neat, just because like the game is a completely different style. It's supposed to be super serious espionage thriller, and then it still kind of has these silly RPG-nesses to it.
Yeah.
But that's just how Final Fantasy always is gonna be. Except for Tactics, because that game is for refined gentlemen, apparently.
You know it.
I've already said that, where it feels like on the internet, whenever people who like Tactics the most are always like, my taste in gaming are refined. See, Advance Wars is how you do a Tactics game story, because in that game, it's like a horrible war, except all the commanders are just like kids who are like, oh no, my fucking 1,000 soldiers just died. Oopsie daisy. I don't know, I've never actually played. I know that in Advance Wars Days of Ruin, which I think is on DS, it has the same art director as the King of Fighters 12 or something. So all the characters have that like serious anime look. It's kind of weird. Like, cause all the previous games were just like more like silly anime art style, but then that game is like serious mode. I never knew that Advance Wars was a series that had a serious mode game, because
I also did not.
every series has to have one of those, I guess.
Yeah.
Even Bomberman. Even Bomberman isn't safe from the serious mode.
Bomberman Act Zero is so serious mode, it loops back around to being goofy as fuck. Man.
Okay, 10. No, oh no, I think we're fucked. Wait, does it pause on the victory screen?
I don't know. You fool! Whoa.
Was that sound supposed to... He's done nofap for so long that he can fucking levitate.
Ew.
Elbow.
That's not blue magic.
He's Captain Falcon. Yeah! What's that sound he makes in 64? He's like, ugh! Yeah!
No, you got it.
Yeah!
Keeping it real.
Somebody get Mother 3 on the horn.
What the hell does that mean?
Because didn't the developers that like reprogram the whole game so they could fit a whole bunch of characters in one?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Xbox. The thing about that translation is everybody always says like, whatever that is probably better than whatever Nintendo would make. Or not, not better, just like it's pretty much as good as it can be. Is what people seem to say.
Yeah. The fan translation of Mother 3 definitely cannot be beat. But I still want an official translation just so I can buy it.
With censorship of dastardly topics that we don't want the kids to know about. Like, for example, rhythm-based combat. Replace that with one button press. What if they made a Mystic Quest of Mother?
Oh god.
And oh wait, that's what the Magic School Bus games are. Please let this be a normal field trip. That was PK Love. Look it up. Remember Seven Dwight? No, that's the wrong syllables. Remember Snow White and the Seven Clever Boys?
I do.
I just remember seeing that box art and be like, you just can't make stuff up anymore in this economy.
Humanity really had peaked at that point. This is my song. There's a song where she says, "This is my song and I'm singing it now."
Yeah.
The greatest
also
song lyric of all time.
Black kid with the giant red lips who picks cotton in the fields, apparently. Don't worry about that.
A very racist depiction of a black person.
The weird thing is, like, I remember that scene where all the clever boys are marching, and then it does like a camera angle switch,
Yeah.
and it's like actually not bad. It's not
They
bad.
probably put all their budget into that one scene, if I had to guess.
What it seems like happened is that they made a movie, and then we're like, we can only make this into a video game for whatever reason. So put on some like Kid Picks mini games and slap it on the DVD.
Kid Picks minigame.
Because even though it's a PS2 game, it is literally like a DVD menu. My Game Boy alarm clock over there, it probably just plays a WAV file. I'm gonna replace it with this. So I'm gonna wake up every day and then run. I'm gonna run in my underwear like down 5 blocks and then be like, oh shit, never mind, I'm okay.
5 blocks.
Just imagine like 10 times footage of some fat guy running down the street with this music. And then the background is like red and wavy. You know when you change the TV language to Espanol and then it only plays like the sound effects?
Yeah.
There
That
should
was
be
a
a third
function.
option called FFV and it changes all the sound of this. Change form. Somebody said change form and change that. I think everyone would just laugh.
It'd be a comedy moment. It's 10 HP. Okay, yeah, don't hit him. That's all.
Oh no, my clothes.
Yeah, they didn't create dead things.
I wonder if that's supposed to be like the crystal magic is what's giving you your outfit, and then when you die, you just go back to a normal boy.